During my pregnancy, the whole family scolded me just because I took a bottle of juice to quench my thirst. My son pointed at my nose and started crying. Why did you take it? That was my last bottle. My mother-in-law looked at me with disdain. You're always lazy and greedy, and now you even steal the boy's juice. How selfish. My husband took the bottle from my hand and threw it on the floor. All you do is drink? And now, what's the boy going to drink? How can you be so selfish as a mother? I looked at that entire family, each holding a bottle of juice, and felt a chill in my heart. If that's how it is, let's get a divorce. Michael frowned. You're crazy, making such a big deal over something so small. Besides, you're an adult, and you're arguing with your son over a bottle of juice. Aren't you ashamed? I ignored him and went back to the bedroom to start packing his things. I bought this house before we got married, so you and your mother can pack up and leave. He looked at me in disbelief and kept arguing while holding an empty juice box. Seriously, is this necessary? I was just trying to teach you a little lesson, okay? Besides, I didn't say anything wrong. There was only one bottle. You took it, and now Lucas has nothing. You're a mother now. How can you be so selfish? He looked at me as if I were his enemy, not his wife. I stared at him coldly. We had been together for 10 years, and during all that time I had taken care of his family. I couldn't believe that what I got in return was being scolded for drinking some juice. I remembered when I received a $5,000 bonus and took the whole family shopping. We spent an hour at the store, and everyone picked out whatever they wanted. Even though I didn't buy anything for myself, I was happy to see the smiles on their faces. Lucas was overjoyed with the toy he had always wanted. When we got home, he grabbed a few juice boxes. This one is for Grandma. She's older and deserves respect. This one is for Dad because he works hard every day. There was one left for him, but none for me. I thought he had just forgotten. I was also thirsty, so I grabbed a bottle and drank it. At that moment, I didn't know that such a simple action would cause so much turmoil. We have 4 boxes of juice here. One went to you, one to your mother, one to Lucas. So why can't I have one? I'm thirsty. I work all day, and when I get home, I take care of everything for this family. Now I can't even have a drink? I'm your wife, not the maid of this house. I'll drink it, and that's that. What's the problem? Charlotte frowned, hugged Lucas, and started criticizing me. Look at your mom, always stealing things. She even took your last juice box.
What kind of person is that?
Charlotte always did that. Every time Lucas came home from school, she would seize the opportunity to speak badly of me in front of him. I never understood why. After all, I was his mother, and she gained nothing by slandering me. I ran up to them, pulled Lucas close to me, and covered his ears. Charlotte, how long are you going to keep this up? I'm tired of you. You just want to destroy our family, don't you? Why do you always speak badly of me in front of Lucas? What's your problem? Do you take pleasure in criticizing others? If you keep this up, I'll teach you a good lesson. She screamed in fear and tried to pull away, but I didn't let her. What are you doing? I'm your mother-in-law. Michael tried to intervene, but I ignored him. I grabbed Charlotte's face and pushed her against the wall. Now you've learned to stop talking too much, haven't you? What's the matter? Are you going to control yourself now? She was so frightened she couldn't respond. She just looked at me with hatred. Lucas, who had been drinking his juice, suddenly ran forward, ignoring the fact that I was pregnant. He pushed me and stood in front of her, trying to protect her. He looked at me furiously. You're a horrible woman. Why are you hitting my grandma? I didn't expect Lucas to push me. Suddenly, I stumbled and almost lost my balance. Charlotte seized the moment, held her face, and started crying loudly. Lucas, look what your mom did. My face hurts so much. Charlotte fell to the ground, refusing to get up, and started making a scene. Michael stood beside her, fueling the situation even more. Lucas, your mom is terrible. Not only did she take your juice, but now she's treating your grandma like this. What a horrible woman. Hearing this, Lucas lost control. He screamed and ran toward me, hitting my stomach with all his strength. Bad mom. Bad mom. Don't you dare bother my grandma. You're a horrible woman. I don't want you as my mom. I didn't have time to move, and his head struck my stomach, causing a sharp pain to shoot through my body. My vision blurred, and I felt something warm trickling down my legs. I looked down and saw blood. I clutched my belly in agony, my face contorted with pain. Quick, take me to the hospital. Lucas hesitated for a moment, then picked up the phone to call an ambulance, but Charlotte stopped him. She sneered at me, spitting on the ground. Michael, don't let this woman fool you. She was strong enough to hit me earlier. Why does she need an ambulance now? Suddenly, Michael put the phone away and looked at me with disdain. My mom is right. You're lazy, and I've been way too lenient with you. Even Lucas, my own son, standing beside them, looked at me as if I were a stranger. It felt like a blow to the heart. This was the family I had cared for over the past 10 years, and in the end, they treated me like an outsider. I felt as if my heart was being shattered. I couldn't hear anything anymore. The pain was so intense that I fainted. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed, but I felt that something was missing inside me. Charlotte was sitting next to me. When she saw me wake up, she rolled her eyes. What a drama queen. Did you lose the babies? Michael frowned. The doctor said the miscarriage was caused by stress and nerves. Did you really have to make such a big fuss over a juice box? I was lying in the hospital bed, looking coldly at the man who was speaking in front of me. For the first time, it felt like I truly saw the kind of person he was. Necessary? Michael, I married you and became part of this family. When I got my bonus, the first thing I thought about was buying things for all of you. And you, because I wanted to drink a juice box that cost less than $2. All of you attacked me. My voice was firm, and the man in the bed next to mine turned to look, casting a disapproving glance at Michael. What kind of world do we live in? Your wife just wanted a drink, and you yell at her.
Don't be sad, ma'am.
I have some fresh fruit here. Take some. I looked at the fresh fruit he offered me, and my heart ached. I didn't cry when Michael, Charlotte, and Lucas scolded me for drinking a juice box. I didn't cry when I found out I had lost my second baby. But now, when a stranger showed me kindness, I couldn't hold back the tears. They slowly streamed down my face. Michael's face twisted into an ugly expression. It seemed as though his pride as a man had been wounded. Clenching his teeth, he looked at me angrily, his face contorted with disgust. Juliana, are you really that greedy? You just take whatever someone offers you. I'm not saying you can't have anything, and I'm not a stingy man. If you want something, I'll buy it for you. Why are you making such a big deal over something so insignificant? Michael acted as if he were completely in the right, as if he hadn't been the one who stopped me from taking the juice box. Fine, then you can pay for this fruit. I challenged him. His expression twisted as he quickly checked the price tag. Hey, this man said he was giving it to you. Paying him would ruin his kind gesture. He justified himself. I laughed sarcastically. Michael, you have 1 week to pack your things and go live with your mother. I'll send you the divorce papers later. At the mention of divorce again, Michael completely lost his composure. He slammed the table with both hands and then held his head in frustration. Why, Juliana? Why do you have to say something like that? Do you have any idea of the pressure I face at work every day? Then when I get home, I have to take care of my mom, you, and Lucas. You think those $2 don't mean anything, but do you know how hard it is to earn them? I couldn't hold back any longer. If I recall correctly, I cover most of the household expenses. I've never seen a single cent of your $5,000 salary. You say earning $2 is hard, but you've never earned them for me, have you? Maybe you should ask yourself why, after all your effort, you can't even spare $2 to buy your wife a drink. Hearing me say this in front of everyone, he completely lost control. In a fit of rage, he raised his hand as if to hit me. I looked at his raised hand, the anger boiling in his eyes, and for a second, I felt a mix of fear and disgust. However, before I could react, he hesitated. He slowly lowered his hand, muttering something I couldn't understand, but the damage was already done. It wasn't just the gesture, it was what it symbolized. It was the line he was willing to cross to defend his pride. Something inside me broke for good. I knew. My voice was low but firm. I knew you were selfish, Michael, but I never imagined you were also a coward. He stared at me, confused, maybe still processing what he had just done or almost done. Now, let me tell you something. That was the last straw. I don't want to hear any more excuses. I don't want this life anymore. He tried to argue, his voice swinging between frustration and pleading. Juliana, you're overreacting. I didn't do anything. I was just upset. I'm tired. You don't understand the pressure I feel every day. My mom, Lucas, everything depends on me. Depends on you? I laughed. A bitter, ironic laugh that echoed through the room. Are you serious? The only thing that depends on you is your ridiculous pride. Who keeps this house running? Who takes care of Lucas? Who endures your mother's abuse every day while you hide behind excuses?
Me.
And you know what? I'm done with this. He stood there, as if I had just slapped him. But this time it was he who didn't know what to say. Before he could react, I turned and went to the bedroom. I started pulling his clothes out of the closet, throwing them into an old suitcase in the corner. Each piece I packed felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I didn't hear footsteps behind me, but I knew he was there, standing at the door, watching me. Juliana, you can't be serious. Think about Lucas. Think about our family. He tried, his voice almost desperate. Family? I turned to face him, feeling the heat of anger bubbling inside me. What family, Michael? The family that blames me for everything? The family that leaves me bleeding on the floor while they argue about whether or not I deserve a drink. That's not a family. That's a prison. He was silent, perhaps for the first time, with no response to give. I kept packing his things, ignoring his murmurs behind me. It no longer mattered. My decision was made. Hours later, when he finally realized it was useless to insist, he left the room, probably to call his mother and tell her a twisted version of the story. I finished packing his things and placed them in the living room. I picked up my phone and messaged a lawyer that a coworker had recommended a few months ago. I never thought I'd actually use that number, but there I was, taking control of my life. The next morning, Michael was sitting on the couch with a defeated yet stubborn expression. Are you really going to kick me out? Are you going to do this to Lucas? He asked, using our son as his last attempt to manipulate me. Lucas will be fine. He's my son, and I'll take care of him. But that doesn't mean you'll stay here. Enough, Michael. I deserve better. He left the house a few hours later, dragging his suitcases, but not before throwing me one last resentful look.
I didn't react.
There was nothing left to say. With him gone, the house felt different. Emptier, yes, but also lighter. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. I knew the battle was far from over. The divorce, the custody discussions over Lucas, the inevitable attacks from his mother. But I was ready. There was nothing they could do to make me go back. Days later, while organizing my new routine, I received an unexpected call from Charlotte, his mother. She started with her usual tone, accusing me of being a bad wife, of destroying the family. Do you think you'll be happy on your own? Who would want a woman like you, with a child and no one to support you? This time, I didn't waste my energy responding. I simply hung up on her and blocked her number. There was no more room in my life for people like her. I decided to focus on my work, on my son, and most importantly, on myself. Over time, Michael tried to come back. He said he had changed, that he realized the mistake he had made. But it was too late. I didn't need him anymore. I didn't need anyone who didn't know how to value me. Looking back, I realized that losing that marriage was, in fact, a gain. I had freed myself. And now, for the first time in years, I was ready to live the life I deserved. After Michael left the house for good, the following weeks were chaotic, but liberating. Organizing my life without him was a challenge, but every step I took felt like a personal victory. The divorce hearing was scheduled for 2 months later, and in the meantime, I focused my energy on work and Lucas. I knew he was confused and, in part, influenced by everything his father's family had said about me. I decided the best way to help him was to stay calm and be a strong example. However, Michael didn't make it easy. He started showing up at Lucas's school unannounced, bad-mouthing me to the teachers and insinuating that I was a negligent mother. One afternoon, the principal called me in for a meeting, saying that Michael had made an informal complaint against me, claiming I was emotionally unstable after the end of the marriage. I was furious, but I managed to keep my composure. That was exactly what he wanted, to throw me off balance. Calmly, I explained the situation to the principal, making it clear that he was trying to use Lucas as a tool for revenge. Knowing he wouldn't stop there, I decided to take a more assertive approach. I hired a lawyer specializing in child custody and began gathering evidence of Michael's manipulative and negligent behavior. Statements from neighbors about his frequent absences from home, abusive messages he had sent during the marriage, and even testimonies from his coworkers about how he wasted money on frivolous things while I supported the family. My goal was clear: to ensure he had no chance to manipulate Lucas or interfere in our lives. The day of the hearing arrived, and Michael seemed confident, wearing a smug smile that made me nauseous. Charlotte was by his side, as usual, giving me superior looks. However, as my lawyer presented the evidence, I saw Michael's face begin to contort. He tried to interrupt several times, but the judge ordered him to remain silent. The abusive messages, financial records showing he never contributed to household expenses, and even Lucas's accounts of the disdain Michael showed at home were enough to turn the case in my favor. In the end, the judge not only granted me full custody of Lucas, but also ordered Michael to pay child support. Additionally, he was prohibited from approaching Lucas without prior authorization. The decision was a resounding victory, but what stayed with me most was the look on Michael's face as he left the courtroom. It wasn't just defeat, it was humiliation. After that, I decided it was time to truly start over. I requested a transfer at work to another city where Lucas and I could have a fresh start far from all the toxicity. Before leaving, I resolved to do something I had wanted to do for a long time: confront Charlotte one last time. I went to her house, knowing Michael was hiding there. When she opened the door, she wasn't expecting to see me and tried to slam it in my face, but I was quicker. Enough with the games, Charlotte. You spent years poisoning my marriage, humiliating me, and using Lucas against me. But it's over. Michael lost, and so did you. She tried to respond, but I cut her off. You can keep wallowing in your bitterness, alone in this house that reeks of the past. As for me, I'm moving on to something better with my son, and neither of you will have a place in our lives again. Michael appeared behind her, visibly defeated. Juliana, please, we can work this out. I made mistakes, but I raised my hand to stop him. No, Michael. You made choices, and those choices brought you here. Now it's too late. I returned home with the feeling that I had finally closed that chapter. A few weeks later, Lucas and I moved to the new city. It was tough at first, but the change brought a sense of renewal. Gradually, Lucas began to open up to me again, and our bond grew stronger. I worked hard, earned a promotion, and for the first time in years, I felt truly free. As for Michael and Charlotte, I heard things only got worse for them. Michael lost his job due to his emotional instability, and Charlotte, with no one left to manipulate, became increasingly isolated. I felt no pity, only relief. They were reaping what they had sown. Today, when I look back, I see how much that marriage taught me. Not about love, but about my own worth. I learned that no matter how much others try to tear us down, we can always find a way to rebuild. And that's exactly what I did.